everyone, Karen here, and today I'm making a graduation hat gift box. Now, to make this box, you will need 3 pieces of pretty good heavyweight paper. The first one we're going to need is a 10 by 10, and I've already cut this to 10 by 10. I'm going to put this to the side. Then we're going to need a 12 by 12 that we're not going to cut anything on. We're going to use the whole sheet. Now the next sheet we're going to need is a 12 by 12, but we need to cut a tiny little smidge off of this because this is going to be our base. Now this will apply to any box you want to make. You only need your pieces of paper about a 1/16 of an inch difference. You want your base 1/16 of an inch smaller. And if you measure from the outside in, that's the only thing you have to do, is just make it a 1/16 of an inch smaller. So this will apply to any size box you're trying to make. So if our lid is 12 by 12, I want to take a 1/16 of an inch off of this. Now I have a trimmer that is an 1/8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my paper right in between the 2 1/8 marks here. So I'm going to bring this in. Instead of at 12, I am going to, so this is 12, and that is the 7/8. So I am going to bring it in halfway in between. Right, and it's getting caught over here. All right, there we go. Right there, right in between. All right, so we're going to take it off the one side. And I'm going to take 1/16 off on the other side. So again, there's 12. See if I can get it not the catch on here. And I'm going to slowly bring it over to about halfway in between my 1/8 marks. And I'm now going to take a 1/16 off of here. So this is how much I'm taking off. And that will be enough to make your base fit on your lid. Alright, so let's bring in the scoreboard, and what we're going to do is I'm going to start with the lid. Now the lid, remember, was 12 by 12. We didn't cut anything off of that. And I am going to score at 3 inches all the way around. And the reason why I'm doing this is I want a 3-inch deep box. So we're going to go all 4 sides. Side 3 and side 4. Okay, so now let's go ahead and cut this. Let me grab my scissors. Now first thing I want to do is I am going to fold on all of these lines. Now let's look at what we have. Let's see. Okay, if I bring it up here, you can see it. So we have 3 inches here, we have 6 inches here, and 3 inches on the other side. So we're going to end up with a 6 by 6 box with 3-inch sides. So all we have to do to make the base is, now I'm going to do this on the left-hand side. If you are right-handed, it might make more sense to do this on the right-hand side. It will come out exactly the same. It doesn't matter, as long as you stay in the same corner. So I am going to cut on the left side, and I am going to cut away the score line on this side. I'm going to cut down to the score line. Well, let me cut that again. I don't think I did a very good job cutting that score line out. You cut out the score line. Then for the square piece here, I am going to make that a tab. So I'm going to cut that at a little bit of an angle here. And this will just make sure that as I'm putting the box together, I'm not going to have any pieces hanging out. And now I'm going to do the same on the next side. I'm going to cut the left side down to the score line. Then I'm going to cut a little V out of it and get rid of the score line. And then I'm just going to cut a little V on this side too, just to give us a little tab. Alright, third side, same thing. I'm going to cut away the score line. and cut in a little tab. Cut that out. And we'll cut it out on this side. So one more side. Down to the score line. Cut out the V. And make a tab. Here we go. Throw these away. I'm also going to grab a couple clips. These are quilting clips. I got these on Amazon. They come in a couple different sizes. These are great to have because they hold your paper still. And it's like having an extra set of hands. Alright, so now this is going to fold up like this, and this will get glued here. Just like that. So I will be putting glue on this side here. This will come up. And I want to match my corners. So put your hand, I find it easier to make a little V with my fingers like this and press it together. That brings my corners together nice and straight. Alright, there's corner one. And we'll do the same thing again. Glue on the inside. Bring it in. And I'm going to put a little more glue over here. Bring the corners together. And I'm going to put a little clip there. This glue grabs pretty quickly. I'm still going to hold it together. Just give it a few seconds. Third side. Glue all around. My fourth flap out of the way. Bring the sides together. Make sure we're nice and straight. And put a little clip. Now for the last side, I'm going to hold it down. I know it's black on black. It's a little hard to see here what I'm doing. I'm going to hold the flap down so I can put some glue on here. Keep it out of the way. Put some glue. Put it together. And we'll put a little clip. The cream color is going to be the base, which is smaller. Now, you can absolutely do this in whatever school colors the person's graduating from. I know most high schools will wear their school colors, and then colleges will wear black. So, you can do whatever color you want here. So now, here again, I want a 6x3 lid. So I'm going to put it flush against the 0 and the top, and I am going to score 3 inches again on all 4 sides. Because I still want the 3-inch side. All the way around. Alright, now we're going to do the same thing we did with the lid. I'm going to fold all the sides. We're going to cut away the score line down to the fold, and then we're going to cut a little V out of here and make a tab, just like we did with the other piece. Next side, same thing. Now, because this piece was 1/16 of an inch smaller, even though we have the 3 inches on either side, it brought this middle in. So let's get a ruler. And let's measure it. I'm going to fold it in so we can see it a little bit better. So let's look. So now this should be less than 6 inches. Let's see. And it is. Just going to be just enough to make this fit under your lid. Alright, so we're going to construct this the same way we did the lid. Put glue on here. Just give this a second to dry, and then we will make sure it fits. Alright, so let's take off all the clips. Let's see if it fits. Moment of truth. There we go. We have a box with a snug fit. Alright, now you absolutely could leave it both straight like this and your box would be fine. But I want to put a little arch in this black one, so that will help you open the box a little easier, and also it will help show the other color, because if you're going to do it in school colors, that way both colors will show. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a protractor, and I am just going to lay it on here, and I am going to slide it down, and this will depend on the size of the protractor you're using, to where it is the same on both sides. And I want to leave just a little bit here in the corner. I don't want to go all the way to the corner. So for my protractor, I am bringing it up at about the 25-degree mark here. So if I'm 180 over here, so I'm going 60, I'm going to go 55. And that should give me the arch I'm looking for. Okay, so I'm going to hold this. I hope I can stick my hand over here. Alright, so I'm going to hold this still. Make sure I'm in the middle here. That looks good. And I'm going to trace a line here. Now I'm going to do it in gold so you can see it. Just like that. Okay. Yep, I hope you saw what I did. So let me come back over to this side. This is very awkward to do it on the camera. And I'm going to draw a circle like this. Okay? Now I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to use smaller scissors. And I'm just going to cut right along that gold line, cutting the gold line away. Now, when you were doing this at home, you would use a pencil so you wouldn't be able to see it. I used the gold so you could see it on the camera. But if you used a pencil, then it's not going to show. Now, the reason why I'm doing this after constructing the box instead of beforehand, because you might be saying, Karen, you're crazy. Why didn't we do this when it was flat? Is because of the tabs on the inside. If you cut it beforehand, you would have to go back and cut your tabs. So you might as well just do it once. As you can see, when I'm cutting away part of the tab too on each side. Now for the other two sides, if you want to just make sure it's the same, you can go ahead and use the piece you cut and just cut around it. Just put it in the middle, like that. You could even use some low-tech tape or even glue it down if you wanted to. And just go around. So I'm just going to tape this down. Stick a little piece of tape on here just to hold it in place for me. Like that. And now I'm going to cut around. So there are 3 sides. All right, now the last side. We're going to hold this side down, put it in the middle, and trace around. Now I'm just going to check my sides, make sure I'm happy with what they all look like. Alright, so now it's time to attach the top. So we're going to have our 10 by 10, and we're going to put this on top, but we're not going to put it straight on like this. You want to put it at an angle like this to make it look more like the graduation hats. So this is going to go in the center like that. But first we need to put a hole in it in the center here. So we're going to need to find the middle. Alright, so I'm going to use my T rule because I want to make sure this line is straight. So I'm going to find a mark in the middle that is at 5 inches, and that's because this is 10 inches, halfway down is 5. And I'm going to draw a line kind of a little bit down like that. So now I'm going to go the other way and find 5 inches. And where the 2 lines intersect, so this came down this way, and this is going this way, is your center. So that's where I need to put a hole. So I'm just going to grab my pokey tool. I'm going to put it right there in the middle and just poke through there. Now I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to push those ends back in through the other side of the paper. Like that. Now I'm going to take a brad and any brad will do. Now this one, you notice, is not black because I don't have any black ones. So what I'm going to do is I am going to color it with my alcohol marker. Now you can also use a paint marker if you'd like. That will also work. A paint marker would work just as well. Just anything that will cover the black. And even if you wanted to, if you had a circle, you could also glue a paper circle on the top of that. That would also get the job done. Just anything just to make it black or whatever color you need it to be to match the hat you're making. Alright, let me give this a second to dry. This acrylic paint dries pretty quickly. And we're going to push this through here. Alright. I can touch it up after I attach it here. And I'm going to loosely bend the prongs over to where I have some space underneath here because we have to attach the tassel. So I am going to put a little bit more black on here and then put it over here to the side to dry for a minute while we make the tassel. So I have this gold string. So what we're going to do is I'm going to wrap it around this about 20 times. Now the reason why I'm using this is it is about 4 inches wide, and that's a good length for what we need to do. So let's wrap it around 20 times. So there's 20. And we will snip that off. And I want to make sure this all stays here. So I'm going to take my two ends, make sure we're all here. Okay. So now I'm going to take a piece, maybe, well, I need it to be about 11 inches long because we need to go 5 inches off the hat, 5 inches back to make our loop, and then we need to be able to make a knot. Now, I'm going to go 12 inches long. Alright, so I'm just going to take a little piece of low-tack tape and just hold my ends together here just so they stay put. Because if you're tying this by yourself and you don't have any extra hands, you're going to need to hold things down. So I'm going to take my piece, which is about 12 inches, and I'm going to slide it under here. Put that on there pretty tight. Alright, there we go. Now I'm just going to make a small knot at the end. You want to go as close to the end as you can. Just scoot that knot up there. Pull it nice and tight. And you're going to tuck the knot underneath, like that, and pull it. So now you have this. You have about a 5-inch loop. Let's make sure it's 5 inches. Let's measure from this end. Yep, we're good. And so now we have this. So now we need to put a knot on the top of this. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to have to slide this off carefully. You want to hold on to the top of it. Now what I'm going to do is I want this to lay still for me. So I'm going to lay it underneath here and put this weight on it just so it stays put. So now I'm going to need another string. This one doesn't really matter how long it is. And I'm going to hold this over here. Hold this all nice and straight so you can see what I'm doing. Let's see. There we go. Alright. So here's our loop. Here's what's going to be our fringe. This is going to go underneath, and I'm going to tie a square knot on this. And I want to bring it up kind of close to the top, because you just want a little piece of the tassel on the top, like that. Alright, and you want to put a nice square knot on there. Alright, so now at this point, you can move that, because this is now going to stay put. You're going to want to pull your knot, make sure it's staying under there, and you're going to wrap this around your tassel. Give it a pretty finish a couple of times. Then you're going to take your string, the other end, and you're going to tie a pretty tight knot on here. And this is trying to curl up on me. All right, tie it as tight as you can. Like I said, if you don't want to make a tassel, you can always order some on Amazon. So there we go. So I do want to scoot this up a little bit. So if that knot isn't exactly where you want it to be, you can scoot it up a little bit. There we go, that's better. So now that's all that's left to do, is to cut the bottom. Now you can cut the bottom as long as you want it to be. So we'll cut that after we attach the lid here. So this has all had a chance to dry. So I'm going to turn this upside down. And this is going to go on at an angle, remember, just like this. So let's get the glue. Oh, my bottle's almost empty here. bottom. You want to make sure this is all lined up. So you want to make sure your points are equal distances. Oh, that looks like one big black square. There we go. All right, so equal distances here, here, and here. So let's put it like that. Look at it from this side. That looks good. There we go, just like that. And then you just want to give it a good press down. Okay. Alright, so let's put the box lid on. Now you do want to make sure your points are all on the outside of your box here. And then it just slides down. Oh, there we go. So now we have a box. Looks like the graduation hat. All that is left is to attach the tassel, which we will slide under. Whoop, our little knot slid up here. Put the knot back underneath the tassel. Now slide it under the brad, give it a twist, and come back in the other direction. And that will secure it on that brad. Just like that. So now all that's left is to trim this to the length we want. And I am thinking I want to trim this about here. And if you have twine that is twisting on you, just kind of give it a good yank. So here's our finished box with the tassel. Remember, it's 6 by 6, 3 inches deep. That gives you plenty of room to put all kinds of things inside the box. And because of the circles that are cut in there, see, it does look more like a hat. So I hope you like this box. If you did, give me a thumbs up, because that is indeed how YouTube counts everything. And please consider subscribing, because there will be more projects every week. And until next time, stay crafty.